Girl, when I tell you that genetic library had Sister Tula gagging, she was gagging. All right, so in my opinion, this episode is like the rest, where like I'm just really hoping that y'all give us a season 2 or something. I don't know how y'all gonna do it, or whatever, but like it. I just love the show. I love the show. All right, so we start out with Sister Francesca arriving. We see Desmond with all the scars on his back, getting ready to go to this ceremony that we about to get into. Now, I ain't gonna lie, every time I see the Empress, she's wearing something that I would want to wear. Like, she looks so good. She looks so good. I'm in love with all of the show's costumes, to be honest. So yeah, and it just looks really good. I loved seeing all the ships fly in and all this. Like, it just looks really good. So yeah, at this ceremony, basically the Emperor is awarding Desmond with his own regiment, elite regiment, because he saved the palace from being exploded. Right, real quick, I love the imagery of the Emperor being surrounded by by fighters, by his own people, who really could run up and stab him with their swords if they wanted to. You know, like, not legally, but like they could. He's standing right there in the middle of them, right? So to me, it is a very good metaphor for the state of his Imperium. Like, girl, you are surrounded by sharks. I love how Inez was like, girl, I done clocked in. It's 2 p.m. It's time for me to clock out. If you soldiers, if you guards were ordered to follow me, then you better keep up. she don't want to be there. I'm surprised that her father even had her there in the first place. But of course, they want to show togetherness, I'm sure, like House Carino's together. Girl, y'all are not on one accord. Inez was trying to get y'all together. Like, trying to get y'all together. Now, the Empress was eyeing Desmond like, girl, you were born to wear that uniform. Like, girl, she was really looking at him like, Shai Hulud is not the only thing that, you need to be swallowed by. I was just like, girl. And I get it. Like, he's mysterious. He got them flirty eyes. Like, I understand. I understand, sweetie. And the Emperor kind of clocked it, too. With the way that he looked at her. Because, girl, I feel like when you've been with someone for a long time, y'all married, partnered, or whatever, like, you're definitely going to know when they lay eyes on someone that they find hot, like they find attractive. Or that they, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're just going to know. So I think the Emperor clocked it. But when I say he did not care, because, girl, let me tell you something. Here comes Sister Francesca, girl. Of course, at the time I was watching the episode, I'm like, who is this woman? Clearly your wife is not having it. And I was like, yeah, she's from his past. Ain't no way. And we find out that Constantine is Francesca's son. I was like, I'm gagging. So I'm like, of course the Empress is in the back making faces. Like, she ain't happy about this. Now, Constantine is really annoying to me because he came in here apologizing for leaving Inez at the Lance Rat. And I'm just like, girl, just stay away. And Inez almost said, girl, you can turn around. But he talking about, oh, I didn't want to disappoint my father. He really expected me to come there and support him. And that's definitely not what was going to happen. So Constantine says, oh, he'll never leave Inez hanging again. And I definitely did not believe him when he said that, because I'm like, girl, this was a big step. Like, going to the Lanceret was a big step, and accusing her father, the house. Like, the only thing that comes after that is bigger steps. They're bigger steps. If you couldn't take the first small bite, I do not expect you to take bigger ones. you just like your daddy trying to live up to your daddy. You heard what I said? You are just like your daddy. Y'all trying to live up to your daddy's daddy. Like, girl, it's just a mess living in fear. Francesca was right. He's a man motivated by fear. So Sister Avila got these girls putting their hands over the campfire talking about some, girl, I hope you don't feel the heat. Girl, Sister Avila, can you move? Anyway, that's what Jen says. She's over it. She hates that the Bene Gesserit are lying to her and the rest of the acolytes. But then Sister Tula comes in here and just like shuts all that stuff down. Jen isn't going to stop being rebellious, right? Like, we know that. That's Jen's personality. And on top of that, she is the only one of the acolytes who is not having none of these dreams. So Tula's like, girl, let me just give Sister Jen something that she can focus on. Let me give her a win or something before she tears down the whole sisterhood. So she takes Jen to the thinking machine basement. Jeez. She takes Jen to the thinking machine basement, and Jen's like, girl, am I being expelled? Like, what's the tea? Like, you taking me into the same basement that Daenerys hid her dragons in Marine? Like, girl, what's going on? And then here comes Sister Lila talking about Sister Lila over here talking about I was like, girl, I was hollering, girl. I was like, y'all, first of all, y'all need to soundproof that room. Why y'all got Sister Lila in here screaming? I mean, she must be scrapping with every single one of her female ancestors in that brain, girl. Like, y'all got her in here screaming, girl. So, of course, Jen is gagging. Like, they have to put Lila down on the table. You know, how she even got out and walking around screaming is, I have no idea. This whole episode, I was like, girl, y'all are not really trying to keep this secret, like, at all. Lila is just walking around. So Lila comes to, right? And she's like, girl, what's the tea? Like, Sister Jen, what's going on? Sister Jen was like, I'm here, doe eyes. And I think this is the first episode where I'm picking up on some sapphic energy. I mean, the whole thing is sapphic. It's the Bene Gesserit, girl. But you know what I mean? Like, between these two. I thought at first it was just because Sister Jen hadn't seen Lila in a long time. Like, it makes sense. But later on, there were some moments in the episode where I was like, this is giving limp wrist. It's giving sugar in the tank. It's giving homosexual. So Sister Francesca comes to talk to her son, right? She was like, I came as soon as I got your message. And Constantine was like, girl, I ain't send you no message, mama. Like, what are you talking about? You here for Kasha? You know she died, right? And she definitely didn't know. Mother Superior is so shady for that, girl. Like, I mean, you gonna bring her all the way here and not tell her Kasha died? Anyway, she gave an excuse for that later on. But, you know, here comes Mr. Harrow, talking about, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have went against House Carinu. I shouldn't have listened to my aunt. But the whole purpose of this meeting is for him to give Desmond, like, tips, where the rebels are, where they stash his stuff, you know, underground market, whatever. Like, they were over here sniffing that stuff. Do you hear me? Like, they were going to a circuit party. Okay, I looked it up, and apparently the blue glowing ball that Desmond gave him was like a forbidden device that allows Harrow to eavesdrop on Valia Harkonnen. I don't know how true that is. Someone's going to have to fact check me on that, though. But at the same time, Desmond said, in order to clear your name, I'll need proof that your aunt was involved. And, like, Harrow's smiling at this stuff, like, at this thing that Desmond gave him. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the purpose of it, right? Sister Francesca comes to Valia and it's like, girl, why didn't you tell me about Kasha? Mother Superior ends up saying, well, I could not risk the Emperor finding out. You know, they could be listening to our stuff. She was like, girl, we have been sidelined. You need to convince the Emperor to let Inez come to train with the Bene Gesserit. And also, you need to make the Emperor install his son as the commander of his fleet. Essentially, you have control over your son. And that means who has control over the fleet, which means we have control over the fleet. The sisterhood might have control over the fleet. And Sister Francesca's like, well, that's all well and good, mama, but the new Bashar, he's going to be standing in my way. Desmond's going to be in my way. And Mother Superior's like, girl, let me tell you something. We got that figured out. He's going to be too busy to keep his eyes on you, honey. So, girl, this scene, I feel like Desmond's just really flexing, right? Like, to me, it's definitely a threat. He said, we're looking for insurgents. Didn't realize you had a dance lesson. Maybe next time you'll come. Constantine also got dragged by the Swordmaster because he was late yet again, but I think the Swordmaster was honestly just trying to get out of there, like book it out of there to warn Michaela as quickly as possible after Desmond's like obvious threat, right? So the Swordmaster tells Michaela like, we have to get out of here. You have to get out of here, whatever. But sure, like Michaela, I'm sure Michaela already knew because we seen her setting up the bombs and stuff. So she already knew that Mother Superior told, you know, Harrow to tell Desmond all this stuff and gave up the rep. Like, she already knew that. And so the Swordmaster gonna say, his silly self, talking about stuff, my cover's not blown. Girl, then why did you race over here from the palace to tell me all this? Like, if your cover ain't blown, why did Desmond come flexing on you like that, bro? Like, yeah, I guess technically no one has arrested you yet, but this operation is done. It's done. So Sister Avila gets a message from Mother Superior. That's important for later. Jen and Lila are talking, right? And Jen was like, the sisterhood is in trouble. Girl, then Lila switches. She talking about Shai Hulud and stuff. I foresaw the reckoning that would bring the Imperium to tyranny. If he succeeds, humanity will backslide into self-destruction. And Jen says, wait, you ain't Lila. You're not Lila. And the look Lila gives in return is so, like, look at it. She's like, girl, you know I'm not. Now, where's Valia? What's going on? All right, so Lila makes it up the stairs. And that's why in the beginning, I was like, of this video, I was like, yeah, y'all not trying to keep this secret for real. You just got her walking upstairs. Anyway, she comes up there and starts working on Kasha's brain sample so that they can figure out what's going on. And it's Mother Raquella, of course. Mother Raquella is speaking through Lila like, you know, I feared my great work would be lost. It was a good thing I put Valia in charge, even if it risks splitting the sisterhood down the middle. Then she asks about, what did she say? She said, my granddaughter Dorothea, did she and Valia ever resolve their differences? And first of all, I'm gagging that you actually recognizing her as your granddaughter. Like, wow, that's the first. And then second of all, I'm just like, what do you mean workout day differences, bro? Like, Valia sliced Dorothea throat. What are you talking about? Worked out day, and they trying to speak in code because Sister Jen don't know the full tea, but she putting it together like it's not hard. Y'all are not really trying to keep the secret. So here we find out that Mother Superior gave the Baron the lead on the rebels or smugglers, whatever, right? Then Harold's idiotic self gonna ask Mother Superior what she's up to, and she gives him the political talking points response. She says, well, we're just serving the Imperium. What do you think we're doing? So I definitely think he's gonna eavesdrop on Valia and try to turn the Imperium against her and the Sisterhood even more than it already is. And I love this part where he was like, why don't you come with me to lay our uncle to rest? And she was like, I already said my goodbyes. I cackled. I was cackling when she said that in her face. So her facial expression, I was cackling. And so Harold clocked it too. Like, obviously he thinks that Valia killed his uncle because he says, I'm sure every word brought him peace. It was that was really that was funny. Francesca says to the Emperor, like, you gotta test our son with some real stuff, like some real initiative. Like, you gotta give him the opportunity that he needs, allow him to prove himself, whatever, right? And I just cannot believe that's it's even a thought in the Emperor's mind to, even after he did all that stuff and found the traitor or whatever, like, to put an entire fleet in the hands of this boy. Like, wow. Wow. Girl, the Emperor been wanting to do this since the moment he saw her, girl. He is so reckless when his wife could walk around the corner at any time, like, just reckless. Francesca said, I didn't come here to drive a wedge between you and your wife. And then she walks away, but I'm just like, girl, the wedge has been there, honey. It's growing. All right, here comes Sister Avila, knowing herself, talking about, bringing the message to, or bringing Valia's message to Tula. And she's like, girl, what's going on in there? What are you doing? What's in there? Ooh. And Tula's like, girl, you are really trying it. You need to move. And then Lila comes out the room, even though Tula should have told Jen to lock the door. Like, what's going on? I guess since it's technically Mother Reconnecting, they kind of don't want to, like, tell her to sit herself down somewhere. You know what I mean? And stay in the room until Avila go away. Mother Reconnecting, you gonna go back into the depths of darkness when this is done, honey. No shade, but, like, I'm gonna have to deal with the Bene Gesserit after you then just flipped over all the tables. You're like, girl, what you mean? Stay in the room. But Lila gonna come out of Reconnecting gonna come out of the room talking about some, oh, well, it's a virus. It's a retrograde virus. And to me, I'm just like, girl, you couldn't wait until I was finished talking to Avila for me to come into the room so you can tell me that. Like, girl, what are you talking about? Not only does Avila know that you alive, Lila, girl, but now she know that it's a virus. She know all the tea that you done talk. Like, you should have waited until me. You should have waited until I got in the room, girl. You should have waited until I got in the room. Like, y'all wasn't really trying to keep this secret. Tula told Sister Avila that she could go and that she better not mention a word of this to anyone, which I'm just like, why even say that when you know that she definitely is? Like, Avila is definitely going to tell all the girls what has happened. You already know that. You should be preparing. Like, what are you talking about? Don't tell her. You should have locked Avila up. You should have locked Avila. So Desmond came in there, right? And he started tearing up the place. Of course, they're still setting up the bombs. Desmond's talking about some, what's kind of crazy is that you're actually here, profiting off of the exploitation of your home planet, communing with your oppressors. So obviously he's like, girl, you're giving me rebel tease because, like, why else would you be here? So they fight their way out, but not before Desmond finds Sister Michaela's, like, Bene Gesserit get up, like her gown and stuff. And the explosion goes off, but Desmond survives because of his shield thing, right? Swordmaster clocks that Sister Michaela is a Bene Gesserit sister because of the knife or dagger, whatever. And he was like, oh, girl, you lied to us, da-da-da-da. And Michaela's like, girl, I know you ain't talking. Everybody has their own secrets. But Swordmaster was just like, girl, I don't want to ever see you again. And Michaela kind of cries about this, but it seems like, obviously, she's trying to hold it back. Okay, so Desmond really walks out like nothing has happened. And that's definitely going to be a problem. Constantine has this conversation with his mom, right? He asked her why he was brought into this world. And he said, you left me to be raised by a father who can't stand me and never will. And she says, you were brought into this world to protect your sister from everyone who brings her harm, including the ones who claim to love her. And then she also tells him that opportunity will come. Obviously speaking about the fleet and stuff. So, like, when it comes, you need to reach for it. And he's just kind of disillusioned with everything, which is understandable. But Constantine still really annoys me. I don't care what y'all talking about. And he annoys me more than Nez does. Like, no shade. Like, so Michaela goes to tell Valia that Desmond survived. And Valia's like, what? Girl, how could that happen? Anyway, we have a contingency. And Michaela's just like, girl, you had me destroy everything I built for years. Like, what's going on? Mother Superior's like, girl, hold your head up high. You've helped Francesca do what she needs to do. Like, we're settling in. And Michaela's like, girl, it's not her performance I'm worried about. And Valia's like, girl, now wait. Now wait, don't you question me, honey. Don't you question me. And it's like, Valia, you need to be questioned. No shade. You did maneuver this well. I will say, like, putting this distraction for Desmond to take care of, to get Francesca to do what she needs to do. Like, I understand it, but you still, girl, I can understand why Michaela a little annoyed. All right, so here, right? Because I'm like, y'all are not, I think this goes for Sister Tula, for everybody. For Constantine, you're not really trying to keep no secret, because why are you leaving this stuff around for Constantine to find? He finds, like, the map of the palace or whatever, that the Sword Master used to come up with his plans, and of course, he ends up turning him in. Now, here, the Emperor makes the announcement that since Constantine apprehended a traitor, the Sword Master, he's now in charge of the fleet. Now, Inez is mad that Constantine let her down again. I'm just like, girl, you should not be surprised. You should not be surprised. Constantine is desperate for, like, some type of legitimacy, for some type of respect, for some type of respect from his father. He's desperate for it, and you should have known that when he did not show up to the Lance Rat, like, he wasn't going to, his whole entire self-esteem, manhood, all that stuff, like, tied up in these definitions that his, these imperial definitions, these definitions that include legacy and all that stuff, like, you should not be surprised. Unfortunately, that's how Constantine is. And that's his man that he done gave up the Sword Master that she in love with. The Empress is like, oh my gosh, Sister Francesca really got what she wanted. Like, everybody is usurping me. So it's just a mess. Inez goes, she had to leave. What's her face had to leave? The Empress. So Inez goes to the Sword Master, who is in the suspension cells that I really want to just be in for, like, maybe like 20 minutes to see how cool it is to fly around, whatever. Then y'all gonna have to get me out, no shade. She uses truth sense on him. And asks him what his tea really is. He said that he chose Inez over his principles, although he doesn't mind dying for them. And he thinks that he can bring about a better Imperium. And I'm just like, girl, y'all need to run from the Imperium. Like, it gives me, like, why would I want to be in King's Landing when I could be in Dorne, or I could be, over in Essos doing something? Like, I don't want to be in Washington, D.C. Like, girl, get out, like, run from the Imperium. It's schemes and plots and schemes and backstabbing and plots. Like, that's it. So they still trying to be guided by this Imperium. You want to make the Imperium better? Girl, what? It's like, when y'all are involved in the Imperium, it always goes down the drain. Because something gonna happen. Some betrayal, something, So Lila asked Jen if they got what they needed. And Jen said that Lila had done her part and that she's the bravest among them. And I'm like, I really think that something gay is going on. And I like that. All right. So here the Empress said, and she looks so good. I love what she got on. I'm telling you. And them bracelets make her look like Wonder Woman a little bit. So the Empress says that Desmond has been chosen. She says, we have to get rid of those Bene Gesserit witches. So while Francesca is touching on the Emperor's chest, the Empress is making out with Desmond. Oh my God. Like, she been wanting to since the beginning of this episode. We already seen that. So here is the gag of the episode. Tula goes down, right, to run Desmond's DNA in the genetic library. And it turns out that Desmond is a mix of Atreides and Harkonnen blood. Now, what that means is that he is likely the child that Tula had with Ori Atreides before she killed him and the rest of his family. So they was playing around, doing what they had to do. We just saw her kill this guy's family, and that's it. But they was screwing, girl. Like, they was getting their life. So, that's why she was probably gagging at the end. Like, they saying that Desmond is her child. Because Desmond says when he's talking to the Empress, he says, "A woman gave birth to me and gave me away and left me to fend for scraps. She was a sister." And so, girl, what is going to happen when Valia find out that he your son? I guess she's gonna be like, "Well, girl, we gonna have to offer him for real." Like she might not be that pressed about it. I think the rest of the Benny Jet, some of the Benny Jet, especially Sister Avila, oh my gosh, they gonna be on her. What you mean? That's your son? I don't know. That's absolutely crazy. I love that twist though. And also I do wonder, because I don't know the lore that much, like I do wonder who's gonna like carry their Atreides name forward, because is the Sword Master I don't know, like, because this is Atreides and Harkonnen, like I don't know. I guess we're gonna find, like, because obviously Atreides and Harkonnen still exist in the far future, so I'm like, I wonder how this is gonna end up going. But yeah, Tula's over there shaking and convulsing, honey. Like, girl, am I really gonna tell these girls that he my son? But at the same time, it's like, how many children, how many children have y'all abandoned in general, like over the years, Bene Gesserit? Like, so it's like, can y'all really drag her for that? But like, anytime you're in church, like the Bene Gesserit, like the Aes Sedai, whatever, like anytime you're in church, they're gonna find a reason to drag you. Like, that's just that it is what it is. So I'm wondering how they're gonna take that. Like I said, absolutely love this show. I think that it really, and I know we're just, I guess, to the middle end of the season, but it just really exceeded my expectation. I love that they leaned into the political intrigue of it all. I actually cannot wait to see how Valia's story ends. I cannot wait, like, girl, because she has been sowing discord and destruction in this Imperial. She's been sowing discord and destruction, okay? But yeah, we found out that the burning from the inside or whatever, these like it's giving it's a virus, as Raquel / Lila said. So I wonder how they're gonna deal with that. And then especially we know that Desmond, every time he uses his powers, it burns him up too. So I can't wait to get into the mechanics, the exact mechanics of what's going on with Desmond and all that, his powers and all that stuff. So let me know what you thought of this episode. Had fun making this video. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll check y'all out later. Peace. Make sure that you're going to www.zeraxia.com. When you join the wait list there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, the sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my introduction to writing fantasy and stuff. So just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. It's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zeraxia, The Vengeance of Cold Wind, right? And go to Zeraxia.com, sign up, join the wait list, get your free chapter. Thank you so much.